In the small weathered town of Millbrook, where industrial chimneys painted the sky grey, and hope seemed as thin as winter mist, lived Emma Thompson. At 28, she carried the weight of her world on shoulders, far too young to bear such burden. Her life was a delicate dance of survival, a constant juggling act between two jobs and a dream that flickered like a distant candle. Every morning, before the town stirred, and while darkness still hugged the streets, Emma would rise. Her tiny apartment was modest, a single bedroom where her younger brother Jack slept, surrounded by medical bottles and carefully organized medications. She would prepare his breakfast, check his temperature, and ensure his morning pills were perfectly arranged. Jack wasn't just her brother, he was her entire world. Born with a chronic condition that demanded constant care, he relied completely on Emma. Their parents had been taken by a sudden illness years ago, leaving Emma as Jack's sole protector and provider. Where others might have crumbled, she stood, resolute. Her first job began at 5:30 in the morning. As a cleaning assistant at the local office complex, Emma would meticulously polish floors and organize spaces, her hands moving with precision and care. Her colleagues rarely noticed her. She was invisible, a silent worker who blended into the background of corporate walls. By afternoon, she would rush to her second job at Miller's Diner, trading her cleaning uniform for a crisp white shirt and black apron. The diner was a typical small-town establishment, checkered floors, vintage photographs, and the constant hum of conversation. Here, Emma transformed into a different version of herself, a friendly waitress with a warm smile that masked her inner exhaustion. Her tips were carefully counted each night. Every single penny went towards Jack's medical treatments, future possibilities, and their survival. Dreams of becoming a nurse burned within her, but they seemed as distant as the stars, beautiful yet unreachable. Jack knew about his sister's struggles. Despite his illness, he was incredibly perceptive. On nights when Emma would return home, her feet aching and her spirit worn, he would offer her small moments of comfort. A warm cup of tea, a gentle smile, a whispered thank you that meant more than words could express. Their small apartment told a story of resilience. Walls decorated with Jack's artwork, colorful drawings that represented hope and imagination. Medical bills were carefully organized in a folder, showing Emma's meticulous planning. A single bookshelf contained medical journals, nursing magazines, and books about healthcare, silent witnesses to Emma's unspoken dream. The town of Millbrook wasn't kind to dreamers. It was a place where survival meant accepting your circumstances, where ambition was often crushed under the weight of financial realities. But Emma was different. She refused to be defined by her current situation. Her routine was relentless. Wake up at 4, prepare Jack's medications, clean offices, serve customers, return home, study medical journals in the quiet hours of the night. Sleep was a luxury she rarely afforded herself. Her determination burned brighter than her exhaustion. People in the town saw her but rarely noticed her. To them, she was just another working-class woman, another face in the crowd. They didn't see the extraordinary spirit that lived within her ordinary exterior. They couldn't comprehend the depth of her love, the strength of her commitment. Winter in Millbrook was particularly harsh. Cold winds cut through thin jackets, and heating was a luxury many couldn't afford. Emma would ensure Jack was warm, often sacrificing her own comfort. Her love was a shield, protecting her brother from the world's harshness. As another challenging day concluded, Emma sat beside Jack's bed. Her hands were rough from cleaning, her feet sore from walking, but her spirit remained unbroken. She looked at her brother, who was sketching something in his notebook, and allowed herself a moment of quiet hope. Tomorrow would be another day, another opportunity to fight, to survive, to dream, and Emma Thompson would face it with the same unwavering courage that had defined her entire life. In this moment, in this small room in Millbrook, a story of extraordinary resilience was being written, one ordinary day at a time. The end. The rain fell softly against the diner's windows, creating a gentle rhythm that matched the quiet evening. Emma moved between tables, her movements efficient, and practiced, balancing plates and coffee cups with the skill of someone who had done this countless times before. The miller's diner was nearly empty, save for a few late-night customers seeking warmth and comfort. Margaret Williams sat in the corner booth, her silver hair neatly arranged, reading glasses perched on the edge of her nose. She watched Emma with keen eyes that had seen decades of life, of struggle, of hope. As a retired school principal, Margaret had developed an instinct for recognizing potential in unexpected places. Emma approached her table, coffee pot in hand. "More coffee, ma'am?" she asked, her voice soft but friendly. Margaret nodded, studying the young woman's tired eyes and the subtle lines of worry etched around her mouth. "You look exhausted, dear," Margaret said, her voice warm and motherly. It was more than a casual observation. It was an invitation to conversation. Something in Margaret's tone made Emma pause. She wasn't used to people seeing her, really seeing her. Most customers barely noticed the waitress who refilled their cups and cleared their plates. But Margaret was different. As Emma refilled the coffee cup, Margaret began to ask gentle questions about her work, her family, her dreams. Slowly, carefully, Emma found herself sharing her story. She spoke of Jack, of his illness, of her dream to become a nurse. The words came out hesitantly at first, then with growing passion. Margaret listened intently. She recognized the fire of ambition burning beneath Emma's tired exterior. Most people would have seen a struggling waitress. Margaret saw a woman on the brink of something extraordinary. "Have you heard about the community college scholarship program?" Margaret asked, her eyes twinkling with a hint of mischief. Emma shook her head, confusion crossing her face. That night, Margaret shared something that would change everything. The local community college offered a scholarship for mature students, people like Emma who were working hard to improve their lives. It wasn't just financial support, but a pathway to education, to a better future. Emma's hands trembled as Margaret wrote down the details. The application process, the requirements, the potential for transformation. It seemed too good to be true. Years of struggling had taught Emma to be cautious of hope. When her shift ended, Emma walked home through the rain-soaked streets. The scholarship information was carefully tucked in her bag, feeling both exciting and terrifying. Jack was waiting, propped up in bed, his eyes bright with curiosity. "What's that?" he asked, noticing the excitement in his sister's eyes. Emma explained everything. The scholarship, Margaret's kindness, the possibility of becoming a nurse. Jack listened, his smile growing with each word. He had always believed in his sister, even when the world seemed to push against her. That night, Emma began working on her application. The kitchen table became her workspace. Medical journals spread out, scholarship forms carefully filled, every word written with hope and precision. Jack sat nearby, offering encouragement, helping her proofread. Margaret had given her more than information. She had offered hope, a precious gift more valuable than money. In a world that often seemed cold and indifferent, she had shown unexpected kindness. The application wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a ticket to a different life, a chance to break the cycle of endless work and financial struggle, an opportunity to become the nurse she had always dreamed of being. Days turned into weeks. Emma worked, studied, and prepared. Her routine remained the same, cleaning jobs, waiting tables, caring for Jack. But now something was different. Hope burned bright in her heart. Margaret continued to offer guidance. Sometimes she would visit the diner, sometimes she would call. She became a silent mentor, believing in Emma when the world had given her little reason to believe in herself. As winter approached, Emma sealed her scholarship application. Her hands were steady, her heart full of determination. Whatever happened, she knew she had already won something important, the courage to try. The end. The envelope arrived on a cold Tuesday morning. Emma's hands trembled as she held the thick white paper, her heart racing faster than her breath. Jack watched from his bedroom, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and anxiety. Carefully she opened the letter, the first few lines blurred together, words swimming across the page. Then clarity, a single sentence that crushed her world. "We regret to inform you that your scholarship application has not been successful this year. Rejection hit her like a physical blow. Years of hope, months of preparation, countless late nights of studying, all seemed to crumble in that single moment. The kitchen suddenly felt too small, too quiet. Jack's soft breathing was the only sound breaking the silence. Emma didn't cry. She wasn't the type to surrender to tears. Instead, a quiet determination settled over her. This wasn't the end. It was just another challenge to overcome. That evening, she spread her entire collection of medical journals across the kitchen table. Old nursing magazines, borrowed textbooks, handwritten notes, a landscape of her dreams. Jack watched her, understanding, the storm of emotions brewing inside his sister. "We're not giving up," Emma whispered, more to herself than to Jack. Her finger traced the scholarship rejection letter, then deliberately folded it and placed it in the bottom drawer. Margaret Williams arrived the next day. She found Emma working on alternative plans, researching part-time nursing programs, community education options, any possible pathway to her dream. The older woman sat quietly, observing Emma's methodical approach. "Not all doors close forever," Margaret said softly. Her words carried the wisdom of years, the understanding that life rarely follows a straight path. Emma began exploring every possible option. She discovered evening classes at the local community center, part-time nursing assistant courses that could be completed alongside her current jobs. Each discovery was a small victory, a ray of hope breaking through the clouds of disappointment. Her workplace became her training ground. At the office cleaning job, she observed administrative processes. At the diner, she paid attention to how the staff managed complex situations. Every experience became a learning opportunity. Jack became her greatest supporter. Despite his illness, he would help her study. He'd quiz her from medical books, ask questions, challenge her understanding. Their small apartment transformed into a makeshift classroom, filled with determination and love. Financial challenges remained brutal. Emma calculated every single penny. Her cleaning jobs and diner shifts barely covered Jack's medical expenses and their basic living costs. But she refused to let money define her limitations. She started taking online courses, using the library's free internet. Late at night, after Jack was asleep, she would study. Nursing videos, medical journals, online lectures. She consumed knowledge like oxygen. Local medical clinics became her next target. Emma began inquiring about entry-level positions, volunteer opportunities, anything that could bring her closer to her nursing dream. Her persistence was remarkable. Each rejection only fueled her determination. Margaret continued supporting her. She introduced Emma to local healthcare professionals, shared contacts, provided recommendation letters. Her network became Emma's lifeline, her silent guardian in this challenging journey. Months passed. Winter turned to spring. Emma's routine remained relentless, cleaning, waiting tables, studying, caring for Jack. But something had changed. Her eyes now held a different spark. The rejection had not defeated her. It had transformed her. One ordinary Thursday evening, everything shifted. A local medical clinic needed a part-time records assistant. The job wasn't nursing, but it was a step closer to her dream. Emma applied immediately, her application a testament to her unwavering spirit. Jack watched her, his eyes filled with admiration. "You're going to make it," he whispered. It wasn't just a statement, it was a promise. Emma's journey wasn't about instant success. It was about persistent hope, about refusing to let circumstances define her potential. Each challenge was another opportunity to prove her strength. As night fell over Millbrook, Emma sat beside Jack. Medical journals spread around them. The rejected scholarship letter remained forgotten in the drawer, a reminder that true success isn't about perfect paths, but about the courage to keep moving forward. Her dream was alive, and she was ready to fight for it. The end. The medical clinic stood like a beacon of hope, its white walls promising new beginnings. Robert Peterson, the key clinic manager, studied Emma's application with careful eyes. Her resume wasn't extraordinary, years of cleaning and waitressing, but something about her determination caught his attention. Emma waited outside, her hands folded neatly, wearing her best pressed shirt. Jack had helped her prepare, ironing the shirt carefully that morning, offering words of encouragement. "You'll do great," he had said, his own fragile health momentarily forgotten in his sister's moment. "We have a medical records assistant position," Robert said, his voice neutral. "Part-time, minimum wage, but—" He paused. "We offer tuition reimbursement for employees pursuing medical education." The words hung in the air like a precious gift. Emma could hardly breathe. This wasn't just a job. This was a pathway, a bridge between her current reality and her dream of becoming a nurse. Her first day was overwhelming. Rows of medical files, complex computer systems, medical terminology. That seemed like a foreign language, but Emma was a quick learner. She approached each task with the same determination that had carried her through years of struggle. Robert watched her closely. Where other employees saw routine, Emma saw opportunity. She organized files with meticulous care, asked intelligent questions, and demonstrated an unexpected understanding of medical processes. Nights became a careful dance of responsibility. Emma would work her clinic shifts, then rush to evening classes. Jack would prepare her dinner, carefully measuring his own medications, ensuring everything was perfect for his sister's success. The tuition reimbursement was a lifeline. Each class brought her closer to her nursing dream. Medical terminology, human anatomy, patient care, knowledge that once seemed impossible, now filled her notebook pages. Her colleagues began to notice her transformation. The quiet, cleaning woman was becoming a confident medical professional. Her smile grew stronger, her steps more purposeful. The clinic became more than a workplace, it became her training ground. Jack's health became a strange blessing. His medical experiences gave Emma unique insights. She understood patient care not just as a theoretical concept, but as a lived experience. His struggles became her motivation, his recovery her inspiration. Margaret Williams continued supporting her. She would visit the clinic, bringing homemade cookies, sharing wisdom gained from years of educational leadership. "You're building something remarkable," she would tell Emma, her eyes sparkling with pride. Financial challenges remained, but they no longer seemed insurmountable. Emma's clinic job provided stability. Her evening classes offered hope. Jack's medical treatments became more manageable, with her growing understanding of healthcare systems. Winter passed. Spring arrived. Emma's world expanded beyond the small-town limitations. Each medical file she processed, each class she completed, was a step towards her bigger dream. Robert Peterson recognized her potential. He began giving her additional responsibilities. Filing became training. Routine tasks became learning opportunities. The clinic transformed from a workplace to an educational platform. Her classmates were surprised. Many were younger, straight from high school. But Emma's life experience gave her an edge. She understood patience, persistence, the real meaning of care. Jack became her biggest supporter. From his bedroom, he would help her study. Medical diagrams, complex terminology, they would discuss them together, turning learning into a shared adventure. The community began to notice her transformation. The invisible cleaning woman was becoming a respected medical professional. Her journey inspired others, proof that dreams could survive against impossible odds. Margaret watched from a distance, her heart full of pride. She had seen potential in Emma when others saw only a struggling waitress. Now that potential was blossoming into something beautiful. Emma's world was no longer about survival. It was about growth, about possibility. Each medical file processed, each class completed was a victory. Not just for herself, but for Jack, for Margaret, for everyone who had believed in her. As summer approached, Emma stood in the clinic, wearing her new medical assistant uniform. The girl who once cleaned offices and waited tables was now walking, a path towards becoming a nurse. Her eyes, once tired and uncertain, now burned with a quiet, determined hope. This was more than a job. This was a transformation. The end 2 years passed like a beautiful, challenging dream. Emma stood in her crisp white nursing uniform, tears quietly filling her eyes. The graduation ceremony was small, but the emotions were massive. Margaret Williams sat in the front row, her hands clasped together, pride radiating from her entire being. Jack, now healthier and stronger, sat beside Margaret. His body had transformed alongside his sister's journey. Where once he was a fragile patient, he was now a supportive young man, his medical challenges gradually becoming manageable. The local community college auditorium felt different today. Emma wasn't just another graduate. She was a symbol of hope. Her journey from a struggling waitress to a licensed practical nurse represented something bigger than herself. Robert Peterson, her clinic manager, who had first believed in her, sat among the audience. He remembered the nervous woman who had first walked into his office, now transformed into a confident healthcare professional. His decision to offer her that first opportunity had changed not just her life, but potentially countless others. During her graduation speech, Emma spoke simply. She didn't use complex words or dramatic statements. She spoke about resilience, about believing in oneself, about the power of small opportunities. Her voice was soft but strong, carrying the weight of her experience. "Every challenge is an opportunity," she said. "Every setback is a chance to learn. My brother Jack taught me that. Margaret showed me that. My colleagues proved that." The audience listened, captivated. Her story wasn't just personal, it was universal. A story of hope, of transformation, of refusing to be defined by current circumstances. Returning to the medical clinic where her journey began felt like coming full circle. But now she wasn't a records assistant. She was a licensed practical nurse, ready to make a difference. Her first patients were local community members, people she had known for years. The elderly gentleman who frequently visited the diner, the young mother she had served coffee to, the local school teacher who had always been kind. Now she would care for them professionally. Jack's health continued improving. The medical knowledge Emma gained didn't just help her professionally. It transformed their home care. He became her biggest supporter, her most honest critic, her constant motivation. Margaret continued mentoring her, though now their relationship had evolved. They were no longer just mentor and mentee, but friends. Someone who had seen potential and nurtured it, watching it bloom into something beautiful. The clinic became more than a workplace. It became a platform for Emma to demonstrate her care, her compassion, her understanding. She understood patient care wasn't just about medical procedures, but about human connection. Her colleagues noticed her unique approach. Where some nurses saw patients as medical cases, Emma saw humans with stories, with struggles, with hopes. Her waitressing background had taught her the importance of listening, of showing genuine care. Financial stability arrived quietly. No dramatic transformation, just steady, consistent progress. Jack's medical treatments became more manageable. Their tiny apartment, once a symbol of struggle, now represented hope and possibility. The town of Millbrook began talking about her. The quiet woman who had transformed her entire life through determination. Young girls would look at her and see possibility. Parents would point her out as an example of what hard work could achieve. Emma never forgot her roots. She continued, supporting her community, volunteering for local health camps, offering free health consultations. Her success wasn't just personal, it was about lifting others, showing what was possible. Robert Peterson watched her grow, feeling a sense of pride. His small decision to give her a chance had created a ripple effect. Emma wasn't just a successful nurse. She was inspiring an entire community to believe in themselves. As sunset painted Millbrook in soft orange and pink, Emma sat with Jack discussing her day. Medical journals surrounded them, a testament to their shared journey. Their small apartment, once a place of struggle, now felt like a sanctuary of hope. Her story wasn't about grand achievements. It was about persistent hope, about refusing to be limited by circumstances, about transforming challenges into opportunities. Emma Thompson had become more than a nurse. She had become a beacon of possibility. The end.